What does the SAT have in common with sports and games like chess? Strategy. To get a high score, you'll have to rely, at least in part, on your wits. In this unit, we're going to explore the strategies that will help you outsmart every section of the SAT. The first step to success? We need to step back and examine how the test actually works. Let's start with the format. The reading section is all multiple choice. The two math sections are a mix of multiple choice and student-produced responses. Student-produced responses is just a fancy way of saying you have to enter the answer you come up with into a Scantron. The student-produced responses tend to be more intimidating because you need to come up with the entire answer yourself. But don't worry, we'll go over all the info and strategies you'll need to solve these questions in the coming units. You'll also have the writing and language section, which tests your grammar and language skills and is entirely multiple choice. Great! Now you know what each section of the test generally looks like. So, when you take the test, you'll just plow through as fast as you can to answer all the questions, right? That, my friend, would be a bad idea. And here's why. Your score will improve the most when you focus on the questions you can answer correctly. Since every question is worth the same amount, getting the easiest question right will increase your score by as much as getting the hardest question right. So there's no reason to plow through the easy questions so quickly that you risk making mistakes. This information will be most helpful on the math sections because those questions get more difficult as you progress through the section. The first questions will be the easiest, and the last questions will be the hardest. Each math section is broken up into two parts, multiple choice and student-produced responses. Each part will start with the easy questions and progress to the hard questions. Knowing this structure is a huge advantage. If you're pressed for time, you can go to the beginning of each part of the math section and work your way through the easier questions, knowing you have a greater chance of getting them right. And if you're not pressed for time, you should still be aware that the easier questions are in the beginning of the math sections. Don't move so quickly that you misread these questions and make careless mistakes. The other sections, reading and writing and language, aren't arranged this way. The easy and hard questions will be mixed up. We'll talk more about those in upcoming lessons. Now that you've got the lay of the land, it's time to strategize. First things first. On the multiple choice sections of the test, try to eliminate as many wrong answers as possible before you make your choice. It's often easier to identify the wrong answers than the right one. Next, physically cross those wrong answers off. You're allowed to write all over the test booklet, so you should. It can help you avoid making careless errors. After you've crossed off as many wrong answers as you can find, take your best guess. There's no penalty for wrong answers. Okay, pro tip time. Since there is no penalty for wrong answers, you should answer every multiple choice question. Don't leave anything blank. If you need to guess, don't waste time. Move on quickly to find more questions you do know how to answer. Now, let's do a little practice with an SAT problem. In the figure above, what is the slope of line F? You may not know the answer right off the bat, but if you know that a line that slopes downward must have a negative slope, then all the choices that aren't negative are wrong and can be eliminated. That means choices C and D are out of here. If you still don't know the answer, just guess and move on to the next question. Keep in mind that this rule doesn't fully apply to the student-produced response math questions. If you think you might know how to solve a student-produced response question, give it your best shot. You have nothing to lose. But don't guess randomly here. There are way too many possible choices, so if you're guessing randomly, you're just wasting time. A few more rules and strategies. Don't skip any multiple choice questions. If you're having trouble answering all the questions on the test in the given time, don't worry. That's normal. If time is running out and you still have questions waiting for answers, there's something you should do to try to boost your score. Guess randomly. If you have 30 seconds on the clock and a bunch of questions remaining, don't worry about reading the remaining questions or trying to answer them. You don't have enough time. Instead, pick one letter as the answer to the remaining problems. Why one letter? Because it maximizes your chance of getting something right and every point counts. If you guess B 4 times in a row, chances are good that one of those answer choices is going to be B. If you guess 4 different letters, there's a small chance you will be extraordinarily lucky and get everything correct. But there is a much greater chance that you will get everything wrong. We'll get into more detail about how to use these strategies when answering test questions later. However, if you keep them in mind, you'll be able to earn points even when you're not 100% sure of the right answer. And that's a win.